Jim Dabakis is this larger-than-life personality. You walk around with him on Capitol Hill, and people of all political persuasions will go up and they love Senator Dabakis. They shake his hand, they give him a hug. He has this irresistible charm. He doesn't care what faith you belong to, what your political party is. He sees you as a human and he reaches out in love and respect to you. And that is the best example that I hope that we all can begin to model. You know, it's no secret that there's been tension between the LDS Church and the LGBT community. And Jim said, we've got to make peace. We've got to find some place. And Jim stepped forward and he reached out to the LDS Church. And for the very first time, we sat down and had conversations together.
The year before we passed non-discrimination in housing and employment, we had a tough year, and I sat down with a high church official, and we said, we really need to pull this across the line. This is a great message we have to send to our community, that whatever differences we have, there are commonalities. And the commonalities is we're all Utahns, and they're much more than the differences on this policy or that policy.
We discovered an area of common ground. We discovered that we both believed that people shouldn't be fired or evicted from their homes because they were gay or transgender. And it was a long process, but ultimately we were able to pass a non-discrimination ordinance in Salt Lake City with the endorsement of the LDS Church. That was historic. It had never happened before, and it never would have happened without Jim pushing us.
At this wonderful signing ceremony at the session, when Elder Perry looked over at me and said, "You're the one," and I looked back at him and I said, "No, you're the one." This 90-year-old rock for the LDS Church who really gets a lion's share, I think, of the credit for this whole thing, who had a broader vision than the small little technical issues, and with his help, we were able to actually pull the people of Utah together for one shining moment. And it has been, of course, something that my small share is something I can look back at with great fondness for the rest of my life.
When Jim first took me to meet with representatives of the LDS Church, I was really skeptical. I didn't want to do it. And Jim said something to me that really hit home hard. He said, "Troy, you never have to make peace with your friends. Why don't we try to make peace with people who you perceive to be your adversaries?" And that really began to shift a lot of the way that I approached my activism and my advocacy for these issues.
There's 3 million people in our state, and governing them is never going to be a matter of unanimity. There's always going to be differences. And so we need to try to cut through the differences and find the many, many things that we all agree on. And we did that.